Despite knowing the boy band golden rule, never reveal what you get up to, one boy band in the 90s stuck two fingers up and told it how it actually was.
They were the antichrist of boy bands.
Battling it out as our only really dangerous boy band tonight, here are those Walthamstow Warriors, East 17.
Smash It, so we used to describe E17 as being like Take That would be if Take That had been spending all their time behind the bike sheds, smoking tabs and getting off with inappropriate girls during lesson time.
I thought we was well-behaved, good kids, but we looked really bad next to Take That because they was like Colgate.
They went to bed with coat hangers in their mouths. Our boys went to bed, you know, drugged up to their eyeballs because that's how they were. E17 was doing what every young kid was doing. They were going out, they were trying to get themselves laid, they were taking drugs, they were taking ecstasy, they were smoking dope, you know, all the things that people are so shocked about. They were revelling in it.
What's the biggest extravagance since you've sort of been in E17? Have you bought anything that you wouldn't have even thought
Yeah,
to have?
I bought these the other day. I bought 15 kilos of cocaine once. I didn't. It was 14.
They were listening to R&B, they were listening to hip-hop, they were listening to dance music. That's what they were aspiring to.
They were these normal guys from the East End. You know, out of Walthamstow they came, and they were not the four most attractive blokes you've ever seen in your life. That was part of the appeal, though. They looked normal.
Let our body sing, swing to the soft song. I feel your heat, it's turning me on. I want to feel you all night long, so...
It was like nothing, I suppose, that we'd seen before, because the image of boy band is clean-cut, beautifully dressed, good-looking, and E17 weren't any of that.
While I feel that you can fantasize. Deep down, so rest up on my chest.
They were bad boys. They genuinely were. I mean, they weren't going to suck up to cameras. They weren't going to, you know, play the game. They were sort of blatantly there for anyone that liked that kind of music.
You know, we was as cool as we could be. I think we was as cool as the establishment would kind of let us be.
Despite their rebel boy band status, East 17 achieved real mainstream success in 1994 when they took the Christmas #1 spot.
Teddy Morton was a clever bloke. You know, he wrote good pop songs. He really did. Stay Another Day, you know, we're still playing it on the radio now. It's still a great Christmas song.
Baby, if you got to go away, don't think I could take the pain. Won't you stay another day?
It happened to be written about my brother who died, which meant a lot to me, and I thought I wanted to write that. You don't really expect it to blow up like that, because we tried for so long to get #1. When it finally happened, it was really emotional.
Don't you know we've come too far now, just to go and try to throw it all away.
And all the rep would come and say, right, we want another stay, another date. Yeah, so do I, mate. So does everyone. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it was that made you write that, write it again. Oh, all right then, yeah. Maybe I'll die this time. I'll write about that. And lots of people have #1s. That was a serious peak. I think it went downhill from there. I don't know. Felt like it did. Felt like it did.
But with a massive teenage fan base, East 17's chart success could only protect the band so far. In 1997, during a radio interview, East 17's bad boy image finally caught up with them.
If you bang one, you go out, you have a good night. And if it brings out the better in someone, and really in the long run it's a safe pill and it ain't doing you no harm, I don't see the problem.
I just remember reading in the newspaper that he'd said this to some DJ, and just remember thinking, you complete idiot. But there's always something about them that didn't really get what being a pop star was all about. Didn't get that you had to behave, didn't get that you couldn't actually talk about some of the excesses from the night before.
It broke the #1 golden rule of being in a boy band. Don't ever reveal what your true life is like. You know, if you're married, pretend you're single. If you're gay, pretend you're straight.
All I can say is, you know, I'm really sorry for the way things come out, but I didn't want to do the interview yesterday, do you know what I mean? And I was not in the right frame of mind to be sitting there having a drugs conversation, do you know what I mean?
Okay, he went too far, and he stood on a soapbox, which is a very serious thing, and he was advocating that almost that it was okay to do it. Well, obviously that's overstepping the limit, especially when you get threatened by the Crown Prosecution Services that they're going to do him for inciting children to take Class A drugs. I suppose that gets to be a problem.
I tell you what was scary. I ended up in the Houses of Parliament having to speak to the Conservative Party, and I was crapping myself. I thought I was going to be beheaded or something.
So do you still do drugs now? Well, you know, I smoke weed every now and then, but I mean, people know that. I mean, who doesn't, you know? But I don't do that. I don't do ecstasy.
He was becoming increasingly more offensive. He was getting affected by the drugs, and I just said to you, you've got to clean your act up. Otherwise, Otherwise, I don't want to be associated with you.
In the wake of the scandal, the group sacked Brian Harvey. But a few months later, when he was allowed to rejoin East 17, frontman Tony Mortimer quit.
I wasn't happy. I was ill from the stress. I probably put myself under too much pressure, so probably had to get out, really.
Tony got worn down. I mean, I think his back got broken in the end. And what are the boys in E17 doing now? Well, Tony Mortimer's in his studio in his very expensive house, enjoying all the sort of the benefits of being a successful songwriter, and the other three are playing gigs in Butlins holiday camps. It's really very sad, and doing it very badly. But, you know, what can you say? It's nothing to do with me. It ended years ago.
You know, when someone sat down and dreamt up the concept of 5, I'm sure that they were trying to kind of perfect what E17 had started. Because E17, you know, we're quite rock and roll, you know.
I know bands have been trying to be like us ever since, but they won't be. They won't be, for the simple reason I ain't in their band. Brian ain't in their band.